What comes next? After we've discriminated against, deported, or disparaged all the immigrants and the gay and lesbian and transgender people, the developmentally disabled, the women, and the minorities, once we've ostracized our neighbors and betrayed our friends, after that, when the problems we started with are still there staring us in the face, what comes next? All the atrocities of human history lurk in the answer to that question. What comes next?
That's it.
After we've discriminated against...
Hey, hello everybody. Welcome to Behind Enemy Lines with Terry and Paul. We got a great guest tonight.
He'll be upset to hear that Pritzker's going to deport all the, or that Trump's going to deport all the gays and lesbians.
So we had another video we're going to show about log cabin Republicans, but Vince will do a good job. Vince is one of the chapter leads for the Chicago chapter of Log Cabin Republicans. I respect Vince and his folks tremendously, because we all know how we get attacked by leftist extremists, and even Paul's experienced it for his first time in his life in the last month. And these people are brutal, they're hypocrites, and in the area where we live in Chicago, it's been taken over by leftist, Downers Grove, pasty white, just liberals who claim that they speak for the gay community, which is why one reason we're so glad to have somebody like Vince on the show, so that we can let somebody who's really gay, instead of a straight pasty white Downers Grove liberal Karen, tell the world what they think that gay community wants, what they think minorities want. All we wanted was no porn in our school. That's it. We never say LGBTQ, we hate them, all this crap. It's all lies. And so we want the state of Illinois, the community, as well as the country. Most normal people understand.
Live and let live.
Common sense. So is Vince there? Oh, there he is. Hey,
I'm here. Can you guys hear me?
Yeah, we can see you now.
Yeah.
Hey,
okay.
What's up, man? How you doing?
I'm great. Actually, I have to apologize. I'm battling a cold here, so
sorry.
I'm doing my best. I'm medicated up, and we'll make it work tonight.
Yeah. All right. Well, thank you very much. This is my partner, Paul.
Nice to meet you, Vince.
Likewise.
And
glad to have you on. It's kind of a good timing, because we're embattled right now with a lot of radical leftists.
And we've been talking about this for a long time, getting you on here, and it's just finally got it, and it's just good timing. Paul's a father of 2 young kids, and you're really familiar with the stuff that I've been going through here, right? And just in case you didn't know, because these people in Downers Grove, just so you know, I hate you because you're a gay person. So I don't know if you knew that yet.
To dispel any rumors, you've been a great friend.
That's good.
It's great to have somebody from the community to talk to these people, because the loudest voices are these minorities here, right? And they're claiming that your community, like my neighbor buddy's, he's gay guy with 2 young children. And he sees that the Downers Grove Library has pride reading for 2-year-old babies. He's like, no, that's crazy. Or the drag Santa Claus that they tie into, the Christmas church, when young babies are so innocent that they think Santa Claus is a real character and he brings gifts. So why if the kids are so innocent and naive, why are you injecting? You're not doing it for the children. And then we have the tampon machines in the boys' room. We've got the oral sex images from genderqueer, and it's just... I guess I would like you to first talk a little bit about Log Cabin Republicans. We had a video we wanted to play, and we had some technical difficulties. So why don't you explain to the folks about what the purpose of Log Cabin Republicans is?
Sure. So I'll start out with the local organization, which I'm a part of. We're a local chapter of the nation's original and largest organization that represent LGBT conservatives and their allies. We support fairness, freedom, equality for all. Here in Chicago, we're a relatively a small group. Usually we have around 20 to 30 people at our gatherings, but we're growing. The national organization is growing. In terms of the national group, we've got members in all 50 states. Chapters in 40 of them, and in some states multiple chapters. So I think as of last year we had over 80 chapters, and we're continuously growing. And a lot of them are not Republicans. They're Democrats that got left behind by the party. I think a lot of it is just when the LGBT or the gay and lesbians, that community kind of expanded, culturally to include T, Q, I, and the rest of the alphabet, and that's where it kind of got crazy. I think a lot of it, at least from our perspective, kind of changed after gay marriage was recognized. Gay Inc., as we call it, they needed, I don't know, something else to garner support, to get people's money, and it just grew and grew and grew. And I think for the most, for most of us, we feel like it kind of hurt our cause in some respects, because with the addition of all this additional craziness, trying to over sexualize kids, and really shove an agenda down Americans' throats that's not common sense, we're losing, some of the regular Americans on both sides, that just kind of advocate for common sense and letting people live their lives.
Yeah, the community. So like here, the biggest voices are straight white women, Democrats, right? That claim to speak for your community. What about nationally, right? With this battle and the people that are driving the forces, that are against you and representing the things that are creating issues. Is that primarily like here in Downers Grove, straight white women, or is it a mix, or is it the gay community itself? Do you know?
I mean, I felt left behind a long time ago. I was never really a liberal, but I don't try to understand it. It's gone completely crazy, and I think in the last few weeks we've seen President Trump advocate for a common sense approach, and I think during the previous 4 years of the Biden-Harris administration, we've just strayed so far from anything that seemed like common sense, I mean,
yeah,
I don't know what to think anymore. I can't try to understand.
So Vince, question for you about what your interpretation of some of the people in your organization, why they've joined it, and what maybe there's a pushback there. Do you get a sense that there's this feeling like this movement doesn't speak for all gay people, like maybe sort of a rebellious type of attitude, like, hold on a second, like it's not all monolithic messaging for gay. If you can't lump us all in together. We're individual personalities. That's kind of the vibe I get by some, but you tell us what you see.
Yeah, I mean, I don't even know if I describe it as rebelling. I think it's being left behind.
Okay.
And I know people that are trans, that are part of the organization, and I think probably not a member of our organization, but probably the most high profile one is Caitlyn Jenner. She's very outspoken on protecting women's sports. And again, it just goes back to common sense. But to talk about the folks that are joining our chapter, I think it's just folks that align with some conservative or even libertarian ideals. We just want to live our lives, keep government small.
Right.
I think everybody in Chicago and Illinois knows how insane the taxes have gotten. So, for many of us, being gay or lesbian, it's not what we lead with in our lives.
Right.
It's a part of us for sure. But I would say that for many, it might not be the what they lead with in defining themselves.
Yeah, I'm running for village council here, and because of the podcast and our stance on government and obviously the books and the schools and going after kids, like, they come after me. And to your point, I mean, I feel like it's so they try to make that the sexual thing, the conversation always. It's like, I don't even care. Do what you live how you want to live. Like, I think that small government is better so that people can be freer, and they don't want to get into that. I try to drag them into that conversation, but they don't want to get into that because they want to point out that you're a bigot if you don't agree with what I say. Do you ever find yourself trying to talk to some of these people on the left I mean, because they're always kind of like, I don't know what the equivalent, I guess, Uncle Tom, you know, with the race thing, but what they might call you. Do you ever have conversations with people on the left who are like wondering why you're not with them? Or I'm just curious.
Yeah, I mean, I think you know, the conversations that come to mind are a lot of times from straight women, you know, and um,
Bingo.
Ding, ding, ding.
and they're friends of mine,
Yeah.
and you know, they ask that they're surprised when I tell them that I voted for President Trump all 3 times.
Do they call you
Um,
anti-gay when you do that?
well, you know, they really don't understand, and this is conversations with friends. So
Yeah,
you
sure,
know, like
sure.
I'm not going out in public and picking fights.
Right,
You
right.
know, I try to keep it you know, fact based and civilized. But you know, I think, you know, I always ask them, you know, does anybody tell you how to vote as a woman?
Right.
You know, I mean,
Yeah.
I think for a lot of us, we don't want to get pigeonholed um, into a group that tells us how to vote and how to
Right.
think. You know,
Right.
it's I think we're all free thinkers,
Mhm.
Right.
and that's really what I say. Like, you know, there's so many things that are I feel like more pressing to, you know, our local governments, our state governments, the federal government that we need to worry about first. And you know, going back to Gay Inc., I think they always, you know, try to fearmonger and say that,
Mhm.
you know, they're going to take away our right to marry and you know, like deport us. And you know, I've been to Mar-a-Lago 3 times now. You know, for events, one of which was a gay wedding.
Oh, no kidding.
President Trump is not anti-gay. I could tell you that for sure. You know, I've never met him personally, but you know, he's a New Yorker. You know, I think uh,
I
the
think
left
is
creates an image and a narrative that's used to scare gays into thinking a certain way and voting that way too.
Yeah, why don't you explain? Like, you know, we get pummeled by the left, but like, you know, on some from you know, got extremists right on both sides, but especially on the left, they're really extreme and they're stalkers. I mean, they're crazy. They do nasty stuff, and I know I'm part of the left, and the gay left folks are really brutal. I know my Gays Against Groomers friends say that they get attacked more from that than just the white women. So I'm sure you experienced some of that. Is that true? Or um,
I mean, it happens, but you know, I think that, you know, everything has gotten so over politicized.
yeah,
mhm.
You know, I kind of just bunch it all into
the political.
into that. Yeah,
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah. Yeah.
everything that we talk about,
I know.
um, you know,
Sad.
whether it has to do with politics or not, you know, it gets framed in that way that I really think, you know, kind of divides people.
You mentioned the rights thing, and I so that's like a lot of the pablum that I get when you know, being, in fact, I had equality group give me a questionnaire, and what do you do about the rights that are being rolled back? And I'm sitting here, I'm like, what are you talking about? Like, what rights? Like, I totally understand the marriage the you know, the marriage thing back when that, like, that is a legitimate civil rights, you know, movement for gay people, like to be able to be, you know, have gay marriage. But now that you have that, I'm really not sure. Do you, have you talked to some of these people? Are there like specific rights that they're talking about that they're losing,
I
or is it just a talking point?
I mean, I always ask them what rights are you you losing. I had a woman that reached out to us, and you know, she asked that question, like, how do I answer to someone that is arguing that President Trump is taking away, you know, the rights of gay people? And I asked her point blank, you know, what rights are you talking about? You know, and then she went on to say that she had a transgender son, and um, you know, people in his friend group were transgender, and she was trying to explain it to them. She seemed more like an activist in disguise
Mhm.
as the
Hmm.
conversation, you know, went on. it turned a little bit more into, well, my husband, who's conservative, thinks I'm crazy, and I don't know if she was arguing with me to change my mind, but I kind of left it at that. I pointed her towards some resources, but she really never was able to articulate specific rights that were taken away. I know that there's been uh, headlines about Trump banning transgender service members, and as a member of the military, I could speak and say that it's not so much that they're transgender; it's that they're undergoing medical treatment for gender dysphoria. I mean, if you're a diabetic, you can't serve in the military. So, um,
Vince,
it's a lethality issue. It's a deployability and readiness issue. To say that it's simply just a ban on transgender, and again, that's not even a right. There's no right to serve in the military.
Right.
When I was going through the reoccurrence of the stage 4 prostate cancer, they put me on hormones, right? So what that does is it zeroes out your testosterone. It takes, and that screwed me up so much that I voted Democrat that year. And, no, but it does.
That's what it took, huh?
It actually
used to be a
does.
Democrat.
It makes you, you get more emotional. Like I didn't cry. Like I would go to support groups with men and stuff. When I first found out about it. And some of the guys start crying like baby. It depends. It affects people differently and stuff. But I could imagine taking hormones like that, and then being in battle or something. To your point, I never thought about what you're saying, and that makes sense.
It totally messes up your whole system. Did you say you were in the military, Vince?
I was in the military. I'm a veteran.
Okay, me too. It's good. Thank you for your service. What service?
I flew helicopters in the Marines.
Oh,
cool.
Really? Cool.
Awesome.
I didn't know that. That's
nice.
awesome.
Yeah, I was Army guy. I served with some Marines from 1st MEF in Iraq, 1st Marine Expeditionary Force.
Did you go overseas at all, or?
I went to Iraq twice.
Oh wow, we got to talk about that next time.
That might be another. That might be another episode.
Yeah. Oh, definitely.
What
That's
year?
Cool.
What years?
Yeah, it's awesome.
My first deployment was in 2007. I did another one in 2009.
Okay. Cool. Well, hey, thank you for your service, Vince.
Yeah, likewise. Just to get back to the hormone thing, I want to bring up another point too, kind of with the trans insanity. Even not when you're not on hormones, I think that this crazy ideology, they take effeminate boys or masculine girls, and somehow now that it's become this necessity to before they even really kind of figure out who they are,
right,
to go in and make an irreversible change to their sex,
right.
And I don't get how now a male to female transition has actually become more socially acceptable than a effeminate gay man, and that's to even go that far. I think these young kids that are maybe exhibiting traits that might be considered effeminate, it could just be what's cool in school.
It is,
because
I don't remember what the stats are, but like when I'm an old guy, so back when I was in high school and stuff, and I forgot the percentages because I don't want to guess. They're really small, right? Now they went up to close to 20%. And what's different over this time is all this stuff they're pumping into the kids, the stuff they're putting into schools.
Sure,
it's the same. They're the same people, they're the same children. Right?
It's not.
It's what they're doing differently that's making these young kids that are naive and thinking it. And to your point, it's like it's in vogue.
And
right?
surgeries and hormones are not like buying a new pair of shoes. These are irreversible. This can cause irreversible damage. And to your point, Vince, on the effeminate man or the masculine woman, right? Like, that's the thing about it. To do that to kids is so messed up because there is a spectrum like that. I mean, there's effeminate men who are married to women and they are straight, or there's effeminate gay men, or there's masculine women who are married to men, or masculine women who are lesbians and they grow up to be that. And what they're doing, I think, is they're taking away the kid's life from them because they don't know.
Right.
Maybe
And
they end up not wanting to have, change genders. They were just one of those. They fell on the spectrum in those ways that, I just described.
right. Yeah, and I think, my personal feeling, if you're an adult,
Do
do what you want to do, live your life, but to subject kids to this trans education,
We'll do that.
and pushing them down that irreversible path, it's just crazy. It's crazy.
Yeah, so I want to show, we got a little video I made, and this is really important to us here. Congressman Sean Casten, do you know?
Hello,
who he is?
everyone.
Do you know what Congressman Sean Casten is? He's one of the guys we are. You probably saw.
He
You might have
knows.
saw my video on Twitter. And
I
stuff.
used to live in Downers.
Oh, that's
no
right.
kidding.
Oh my
Okay.
God, how'd you survive? They were all hateful here. Oh my God, you probably were scared to walk the streets.
You couldn't go to the grocery store. You
It's
couldn't.
like-
Yeah.
So
Can you
Casten,
imagine?
yeah, so when I, the first school board meeting, I objected to the porn, right? Not against LGBTQ. I had a book, The Times I Knew I Was Gay. I said, this is good for kids. Gay children are children, just like my children. My children don't have to see a BJ, heterosexual. Oh, wow. If I didn't see that in the library, I wouldn't feel included like the gay kids. They got BJs. It's crazy. So we confronted Sean Casten last year after years of being attacked by these leftists, right? And I brought my poster. I'll show it later. Sat right in front of him in the book ban. He got so flustered. So that's the purpose. I want you to hear, after we were attacked for saying this is pornography, and for years they said it's not. So I want to show this, and then we'll jump back. It's only a couple minutes. So we have a real fun video, another one. This is going to show example of how crazy and hypocritical these radical leftist scumbags are. Back in 2021, myself and other parents went to object at the school board meeting in Downers Grove about the pornographic images of genderqueer. The superintendent and the whole board kept insisting, it's not porn. It's not porn. We were attacked by Downers Grove leftists, radical leftists. Kylie Spann, she's a little hobbit troll. I don't even know what she is. She was attacking us. Jill Bartholomew attacking us. Leslie Fugit, she's actually an elected commissioner. And they were calling us bigots, racist, anti-LGBTQ, all because we didn't want porn. This porn right here. Again, this is the poster I brought to the school board meeting and had it held up by fathers who happen to be Proud Boys because the parents were scared because the Democrats attack everybody who speaks up, like what they did to me and all these other people. So you're going to see a little example of it later in this video. And what's ironic is that Fugit, Spann, and Bartholomew were sitting in the audience with the Antifa member. They're sitting in the audience with Antifa. Mary Lemansky is one of their group, sat there. She's Antifa. She admits she's Antifa. More importantly, she's a very hateful woman. She went after made some comments about the Waukesha mass murder after the Christmas parade when all these people were killed. And she said they got what they deserved because Kyle Rittenhouse was acquitted. So that's what these people are. And the irony of this is that after hearing over and over and over again that these images aren't porn, fast forward to about a year ago, Congressman Sean Casten from Downers Grove, radical leftist, his wife's on the school board now, he held a book banning event. And within the book banning event, he had a woman named Jody Harp. You're going to see her in this video as well. Sean Casten, I held this poster up in front of his liberal, whack job, Marxist, nut job, grooming ass. And he got so frustrated, he didn't know what to say. He said, there's only one person that brought pornography in this library, and it's him. So after all these years, 4 years of arguing with these guys that it's porn, he finally admitted it was porn because he was flustered. And then you're going to see this Harp chick nodding her head agreeing. And then after the video clip, you're going to see Kylie Spann confront me, Right? Paul Drabek, who's running for office, another father, and this is just part of their intimidation tactics. They want to say, we got your picture, and they use it to dox us, to go after us, to try to intimidate us, harass us, go after our jobs. They are the hateful ones. They are the hypocrites. They are the ones that told us for years that this stuff wasn't porn. All of a sudden, Sean Casten, their big god of all gods in Downers Grove congressman, admitted it's porn. Finally, he admitted the truth. Watch this, you're going to laugh.
What we're saying is that it's promoted.
Excuse me, allow me to finish. There's only one person who brought a poster of pornography into the having a book in a library.
Wait, it's not pornography.
Somebody can go and look at, and we could go on. Madame Bovary has some dirty parts, right?
He just admitted it's porn. He just admitted it.
It is, because it is available.
He agreed it's porn.
I will.
It's done after this. Here, look at this. She's such a bitch.
Okay. Yeah. All right.
There we go. This is pretty ironic, isn't it?
This Italian man.
It's pretty funny.
That is pretty good, Terry. That was I remember that. Yeah.
There was a book banning conference, and those were all like, and they're all nodding their head when he said porn. It's like, wait a minute, you guys try to ruin our lives because we, it's like it's just so crazy ironic. I'm glad I had that video. Thank God, because it kind of shows how just crazy some of the stuff we are. I got a question for you. As growing up, a gay man and a young gay person in high school, like are you upset that back in the day you didn't have oral sex books in your school to look at? I mean, how did you get through high school?
Gay or straight, I think teenagers figure it out.
Right.
So I don't know. I managed without a book.
I'm being sarcastic, Vince. Come on.
Well, Vince, I got me. So Terry, play that video. I was sitting next to him in the front row. We see, because that's what we do. We'll confront our elected officials, but they just attack people online. But my point to them was, because one of the ladies had said, you know what? They can get 10 times worse on their phones, and I was like, yeah, but it's my job as a parent to police that. Why should my tax dollars go to you propagandizing my kid in the public space? So I guess I wanted to hear your thoughts on that. Like, that's my whole point. That's our fight in Downers Grove in the library, is that, the public institutions should not be politicized. And I imagine log cabin Republicans, I imagine you're,
I think you could take away the gay aspect of it. I don't think that any sexualized, information belongs in the school library. Certainly, there could be those books that kind of tell you about the changes in your body that's happening, or that kind of stuff. But to put that explicit information into the library, and I think that a lot, now it kind of feels like they're trying to take that control away from parents.
Right, that's it. Right.
I think even actually when I went to Catholic school, but I think my parents were notified before we got the talk about the birds and the bees. I mean, it wasn't a surprise or hidden from them by any means. Mm-hmm. But I feel like it's just gone a little bit too far with those kind of explicit graphics. And again, if parents feel the absolute need to put that in front of their children, I kind of subscribe to libertarian thought.
Yeah.
Agreed.
Yeah.
Agreed.
With my kids, right? Our kids, when they go to school, if they're sick or they got a script or they need aspirin, they can't even get that without us giving them a note or even going to the school. But now things got so crazy. If my son, I got twin boy girls, if they want to switch sexes, they could go talk to the counselor and keep that from us as parents, and just not tell us. And it's like, I mean, this is just crazy. And I don't know why there's not more people. A lot of parents don't know. Right. And we got the other side that's very, very vocal.
Or they're afraid to speak up. I mean, I think that there's a lot of social pressures. You guys are on the front lines. But it could be really difficult. And, we saw in the previous 4 years that parents that stood up for, trying to have a say in their children's education were labeled as domestic terrorists. So, people, they have the social pressures, they have pressure from work, that require them to kind of acknowledge and defer to some of the crazy ideology. So I get it. There's a lot on the line for people, and people pick their battles. But thank God for people like you that are standing up for us too. Because not everybody is necessarily able to do that or wants to do that, even though they might feel that way.
So, Vince, let me ask you a question because it's relevant. This is what I've been dealing with my campaign. I had said this to somebody who I was arguing with online about what's going on in a library, and they had like a Pride story hour for 2 to 6 year olds, and then and that was promoted by the library. All right, the library started that, their whole Pride initiative, and then there was like a conservative event that they want to put on this movie, like about abortion and whatever. And the library had made them, made sure that do not affiliate us with this. It's got to be and so my thing was like, listen, the library shouldn't be promoting that. It's a politicized agenda, the Pride Story Hour. Like, I'm fine with both situations. Like if the Pride Story Hour was in the private library room that the citizens pay for and it was put up by citizens, hey, and if people come, that's fine. If people want to protest, that's fine too. But everybody gets to use the public institution. My thing is like, if there's not religion allowed to be in the public institution, why should there be this, political agenda as well? All I'm saying is that we should have an even playing field. I mean, does that add up for you? Does that make sense? Because this is the argument that I'm making, and they're calling me a bigot. I don't think that's a bigoted stance.
Yeah, I mean, I'm with you on that one, and I would argue that the trans agenda has almost become a religion for many on the left, that they're trying to push on everybody. But I think things got so backwards the last 4 years. It's hard to even think about what it was like before that. And thankfully, I feel like we're kind of the ship is getting righted a little bit here.
I think you're right.
I think with everything there needs to be balance, and
absolutely.
I don't see that on their side, just like you talked about. That they refuse to allow any kind of anything from the other side.
This is for grammar school kids.
Yeah.
So they wanted to bring it to kindergarten, first grade.
But right there, like that goes back to the transgender surgeries for kids conversation we're having. It's like, like however a kid feels about their gender, like let them figure it out for themselves. I mean, don't push stuff on them. Just like you're talking about the religion, trans being kind of a religious thing. It's like, I remember I grew up Christian, and I'd say I'm still in line with that train of thought. But I remember having a guy come to me at work and like, I'll take you out to lunch and welcome you to the company, and starts preaching to me, and I was like, oh, come on, man, like don't do this. Even though I was just like, don't push this on me. It was weird, So they're doing that, I think, with this whole agenda, and it's just lay off,
Gays Against Groomers. For some of the folks that watch, and I want to explain a little bit of the differences between the organizations. I think, and I'll say it, and you correct me if you agree, disagree, whatever. So your organization is more conservative, right? It's more of a conservative organization. And I'm not sure of all the policies besides your community advocating for, but I think you guys get more politically involved on the right side, like having Republicans. Gays Against Groomers seems a little bit more combative, I think, a little bit. You know what I mean? They go out and they get confrontational. Yeah. Not purposefully confrontational. I don't know. I think they, and
check out X.
Yeah, and they are more, I guess, more in your face, right? And then they're being attacked a lot, and because I know there's different chapters all over the world with them, for that matter. And I know Antifa shows up against these people and tries to attack them. And I know Jamie, the founder, and Jamie's a Jewish girl, obviously lesbian, and they call her a Nazi anti-gay. It's like, it's kind of crazy, but can you explain a little bit about your knowledge of the difference between the Gays Against Groomers organization?
Sure. Yeah. I mean, I don't want to speak for Gays Against Groomers, but I think that your description of log cabin Republicans is pretty spot on. Our national organization has a full-time staff in DC, and they do help Republicans, conservatives, craft legislation. We endorse candidates. Advise on national policy decisions. So wow. I would say it's more on the legislative side, at least from the national standpoint. But locally, it really is about creating community.
Mm-hmm. That's awesome. Speaking of which, and we can talk about this later. Hopefully, you guys could explore vetting Paul and see if he's even worthy of consideration for a endorsement.
Sure, we could talk about that after.
Yeah. I'll talk to you, Vince. Looking forward to it. So Vince, you know what? Like the traditional view of the Republican Party was that they were, against, and I think there's evidence for this. They were against gay marriage, that they were not friendly to the gay community. How do you think that has evolved? What do you think was the impetus for them evolving into more of, say, a libertarian, live and let live? What was Log Cabin Republicans' role in that? Was was Trump instrumental? Can you kind of expound on that? How the Republicans have evolved in that sense?
I think as a country, we've just kind of shifted more. The left has become very far left, I think, which has drug the right a little bit more towards the center.
Right. Right. Center's good.
Center is good, yeah. But again, the left has gone so far left, not just on this issue, but
right.
Where it's almost become
communism, socialism.
Yeah, I mean, if you have an American flag in front of your house, it's almost a bad thing. They think, America first. It's become a negative thing in their eyes. Mm-hmm. And again, I think that's what kind of caused some of the rapid growth within our organization. On the topic of gay marriage, though, I think that some of the crazy ideology that's gotten kind of lumped into the broader gay community has actually hurt us in a lot of respects, and it's not just on the Republican side. There is a 2024 Gallup poll. I got some stats here. So in 2022, over 69% of Americans believe that gay marriage should be law of the land. Since then, it's been a 2% decrease overall. Among Democrats since 2022, acceptance of gay marriage has actually dropped among Democrats from 87% to 83%. And it's dropped below half for Republicans. Americans, their view of the morality of gay relationships being acceptable dropped from 71 to 64% in a 2-year period ending in 2024. So, I think that just goes to show it's almost gotten too far left, and now it's hurting our cause, but it brings more people on the left into our organization that, really kind of, I think on not just this issue, but many that we just need to kind of get back to basics.
Yeah.
So when I was at America Fest 2 years ago, I was out with got their names, a married couple, and we had lesbian girls from Los Angeles, and they ran the chapter out there, and they told me that that these leftists that hijacked the community set them back 25 years. All the people that fought for to try to have fairness, equal rights, and stuff, and they radicalized so to your statistics, stats you just mentioned, and they set them back in their community. And she goes, I don't even know what all those alphabets are, like what you referenced earlier. And she goes, all we want to do is be treated fair and equally, and have the same respect. Oh, and we don't want to get beat up either. It was kind of funny the way she said it. And then you got these people in our community, they're pushing this stuff. They're painting windows. They're attacking you and they're creating more problems for the community than what it's more of a political posturing by them than it is really trying to do good for your community. That's my belief. I think they're full of
That's
shit.
spot on, I think.
Yeah, I think it also makes it, when the facts don't support their argument, it allows them to kind of just defer to calling you a homophobe or a bigot or or whatever other name they come up with. But I grew up Catholic. I kind of follow the golden rule. I still want to treat everyone with respect. I think we sometimes lose sight of that. When we kind of get into the nitty gritty of the stats and the facts. But I feel like, I just think that we've lost sight of that. It's almost impossible to have a civilized conversation. It just resorts to some of the bizarre name calling or silencing, deplatforming, all that stuff.
Yeah, do you remember a few years ago, Vince, when I was running that event with Gays Against Groomers, and the Log Cabin, you guys were like co-sponsoring, but you had your logo on there. Do you remember that or no?
Yeah.
And then so I had both your organizations. I had Hispanic, I had Chinese dissidents and stuff, and both my venues were canceled. I don't know if you remember, And it was some of the people that are watching us right now, right, that attacked the venues, that threatened them, said we hate gay people, and we're working and collaborating with gay organizations. It's just so crazy and ironic that we got to this point where you guys can't even in your own community are being attacked by those outside the community. Later in March, I'm hosting an event with Gays Against Groomers, and we'll talk about it offline. We're gonna ever hear the movie Wolf in Sheep's Clothing? It just came out.
Is that Dinesh D'Souza?
It just came out. No, it's not Dinesh. It's another big name. Gays Against Groomers are in it, but I'll send you the trailer link and stuff. We're gonna host an event around that, and if you guys want to be involved, it'd be great. I'm gonna have somebody come in and speak, and they said they collaborate with you guys too in events sometimes.
Yeah, I think a lot of it just depends on the local chapters.
Yeah. Anything else for him? I know I appreciate. I know you're sick, and you were kind of like, we could just.
I was able to get in a long nap today, so I'm
good.
I'm all right.
I guess I would just ask Vince, given the recent developments in our country and November 5th and where we're at right now, what would your message be to anybody on the left, gay or otherwise, that might view you as somebody who isn't doing the best service to their cause? What would you try to say to get them to try to have a open conversation with you and get back towards the center, as you mentioned?
Gosh,
Yeah.
I just try to always arm myself with the facts. I don't think that, at least at a national level, the Republican Party, they're not trying to take away anybody's rights. They're trying to preserve rights for everyone. So, I'm all about treating people with respect, but we can't take away one person's rights at the expense of another. Leave the kids alone; they'll figure it out. We preach tolerance, but gosh. It's a tough one. It's a tough one because people feel so strongly on the issue, and I think for a lot of gay folks over 40, they know what it was like not to be able to get married. So I understand the fear, but I would just really encourage them to look at the facts and not draw conclusions that aren't necessarily there. There's so much fear mongering that goes on that I think scares gay and lesbian folks into thinking that those rights are going to be taken away, but it's just not the case.
Yeah, I say like the ones that hijack your community, right? And they're not fighting for equal rights. They're fighting for other reasons in politics, but they're fighting for more rights. You know what I mean? More rights that are not the right. I don't know how to explain. You know what I mean? They're fighting for just this crazy stuff. I don't know if it's just the fight for the political aspect, but it's not to get us together. It's forcing stuff down our throats and saying if you don't do this, you don't like gay people. If you don't do this, you're a bigot. It's like, no, it's not true.
Yeah. Yeah, I think you nailed it, Vince. This is the conversation I've had is we can't give special interest groups rights that supersede the rights of everybody else.
Yeah, that's exactly it.
Well, thank you very much, sir.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, I had fun. It was
Thank
great
you
chatting with you guys. I think we covered a lot of material here today, and I'd be happy to come back anytime.
No, definitely. And I want to talk about the military. I love that stuff.
We should have you back on for that.
Our tech guy's
that's
an
a separate
Army guy
episode.
Too. He's an Army guy. His wife's an Army guy. I'm only non-Army guy here, or military.
Hey, really appreciate it, Vince. Loved your insight, and thank you for coming and giving us some info.
Take it easy, buddy.
Yeah, thanks for having me on.
Thanks. That was good.
Yeah.
Are we good there? All right.
All right.
See, do I look younger?
Good episode. Do we need to do any?
Younger?
You do look younger. You will. You do. Yeah. Because you had a little salt and pepper in there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I bet you, Jill. Jill, what do you think? Do I look younger? Jill.
Well, I guess that was our
Leslie.
I guess that was our
Kylie Span. What do you think, baby?
Did we have a bigot on?
Yeah.
Was he a bigot?
Yeah, I guess. They didn't get your message that we hate them.
There's a gay guy that doesn't think we're homophobes.
Yeah.
That's one. But that's only one.
They might go after him now.
He must be, he must be the, brainwashed or something.
Yeah.
But then again, he's with an entire organization of gay people that don't believe that garbage.
So Downers Grove friends, we're going to have an event with Gays Against Groomers. I'm going to have them come in. We're going to do an event, and you guys are welcome to join us too. And we're going to show the movie Wolf in Sheep's Clothing.
Have a conversation.
That's basically the Downers Grove women trying to, and it's going to be a very good evening. I'm going to have some other organizations sponsor it.
I mean, you invite them, right? Why don't you?
You guys are welcome to come.
Why don't you ladies come out?
You're welcome to come on the show anytime. I know you're watching. Come on, girls.
I don't know if they're watching.
Yeah, they're watching.
Some of the comments on Facebook is like
they're full of crap. They know everything we say.
They say they pull out one thing and then they say something else. I'm like, that didn't happen.
Bartholomew's there chugging her bottle of wine, watching like.
I don't know about that. I don't know anything about the personal lives. I just know that I have been accused of stolen valor, which is lying about my military record, of breaking the law by trying to access citizens' personal information, which is totally false.
Right here.
Yeah, yeah. I've never even met a Proud Boy. I've been accused of, I'm sorry, they call me a Proud Boy associate.
Yes.
Which is you, right? You're a Proud Boy associate. Yeah.
Hey, Nancy.
But wait,
I see you, Nancy.
They're gonna say that you have this, and so this makes you a Proud Boy.
Hi, Nance. John Hancock over here. Are you watching?
They're gonna say that this makes you a Proud Boy. You know that, right?
They
were holding up a Proud Boy.
Just so you guys know, I got this at Goodwill.
Yeah.
My kid went there and I'm like, holy shit, the left's gonna go nuts because they claim this is a white supremacist, racist Proud Boy. And
Thank you for providing the context. You just hold up the thing and you're like,
I painted it yellow because that's the Proud Boys color. So
they're gonna clip this.
So
Get me away from it. Get me away from it.
Now they're gonna boycott Goodwill and say they're Nazis.
They're gonna
He's totally lying. He stole my prosthetic that I use for pleasure.
Yeah, I pulled it out of his rear end.
No, he took it right off my arm and then spray painted it.
Hey, our comedian episode was last week. What are you doing?
Well, thank you, everybody. I hope it enlightened the folks. Vince is a great guy. He's actually
check out Log Cabin Republicans.
He lives where I grew up and went to high school now.
Former Downers Grove guy. I don't know how he walked the streets in this bigoted community we have.
See you guys.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.